Good afternoon everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly. Now, as you've just heard and as you can hear, these are some of the sounds that you can also have on your layout. And this is all done by a little device made by Gaugemaster and I believe Train Tech. So let's go and have a look. This is a sound module by Gaugemaster, and I think there are different ones available, but this one is the SCENIC sounds. I've seen a video on YouTube and it's sort of street sounds, and I think there are some aircraft as well, that sort of thing. But anyway, it'd be quite nice to be able to sort of get this set up, and I'll show you what it's like, and I'll play you each of the different sounds that it does. I think you can connect it to DC and DCC. But I think the only difference between those is that on DC you just get any sound in any order, whereas DCC I think you can control it a little bit more and select the ones you want or perhaps don't want. But anyway, let's get it out of the box and we'll have a look. Got it out of the box. Now, I'm not a great one for looking at instructions, but I think in this case I just want to make sure I wire it up correctly. So it's pointing out the items that way round, and there are two terminals just here looking at that, and it's saying that track input from DCC or from DC. Okay, now what I've got here is my old Bachmann DC controller, which I use for running in and all sorts of things like that, and I've modified one of the track wires, so I've just got two ends like that, and I can plug that straight into there. Okay, it's not switched on at the moment. I'll just unplug that, and then obviously these two wires are going to go into those two terminals just there. Okay, I'll get that done and come back to you. Right, that's all done. The wires are into the two terminals now, and I've got my old Bachmann controller as well. Now, I just thought I'd have a quick read of these instructions. I'm not one for going through instructions per se, but I think this is important when you've got electrics involved. It does say when you're using a typical DC controller, and this is of the cheap end of the market clearly, it says rarely give a smooth DC current, so that might result in a bit of a hum. I mean, you could argue that traffic does have a bit of a hum anyway, as cars are going up and down the streets. But anyway, have a listen. I'll just turn it on and see what you think. That click was because I hadn't got above 8 volts. Car horn there, obviously. And we've got traffic going up and down the street by the sound of things. Pedestrian crossing, perhaps. Bike and a bus. Oops, sorry about that. Not quite sure what that is, but these are the things that it says it has. So just general background urban noise. There's an aircraft, bin lorry, that could have been that noise, I didn't know what it was. Pelican crossing, pneumatic drill, police car which we haven't heard yet, burglar alarm and car horns. Okay, I'll just let you listen to it a bit longer. I have to say, I think it's better than I first anticipated. I thought it was just going to be one noise directly after another and sound quite unrealistic, but this seems to blend in quite well with each other. just go for another 30 seconds or so. Hopefully you should get a pretty much decent idea of the range of sounds there. I'll just put that in front so you can have a read of the different things. These are the DCC addresses down the side here. Okay, I think we'll stop it there. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that, and I think as some general background noise to the layout, I think that will certainly offer another dimension, as well as you will probably have realised by now the station announcements too. I think the two in harmony with each other are going to work quite nicely. I believe they're around about the 26th, but yeah. If you like it, go and get yourself one, I think. I'm not paid by Gaugemaster in any way, shape or form to do this, but anyway. Right, welcome back to the layout. Now, I have to say, before I do anything else on this video, I've turned the volume of this device way up. I wouldn't normally have it anywhere near as loud as this. It's far too loud, and you can hear it everywhere. Even downstairs you can hear it. So that wouldn't, I will turn it right down to its minimum, so it's literally just a background noise. It is quite loud, as you can hear. Okay, but anyway, I've mounted the device just there. Okay, now what I've done with that is I've taken the two wires out, mounted the blue wire, blue and brown for me in DCC, into one of my terminal blocks, just there as you can see. And then I've taken a spur off the live wire, taking you back into an off switch. Now you might remember on the Trouble at Mill video, I fitted a switch for the tunnel light, okay? But it became bluntly obvious within 1 to 2 minutes of having this thing fitted on the layout, I'm going to want to turn it off, because after a while it is going to do my head in, and I think I would advise fitting some kind of off switch to it. Now I'm just going to show you a diagram of what I did for the wire. This is what I do. So as you can see, you've got the module just here with the positive and the negative coming out, and you can just take both of these wires and attach them straight to your track. Or in my case, I've got a negative bus and a positive bus, so I attach all my accessories and everything else, all the track down, all the feeders, through these terminal blocks, which I have mounted around the layout underneath. However, for this to switch off and go through the switch that I showed you, I have the negative going straight through the terminal block straight to the track, but as you can see the positive is broken. So that's where it would normally join up. So I've broken the wire at that point there through 2 more terminal blocks, and that then goes through the switch and then back up through the other side. Now this is 1 wire, so a 2-core cable. So the feed would go out on one side of the wire through the switch and then back down the other wire in the cable, okay, and connect up the other side of the terminal block. I'll just let you see what I mean by that. Right, so this is the connector block I've just been talking about. So there's one side and the other side. So this is the positive wire coming from the Gaugemaster unit. Okay, you can see I've just wrapped it round, and is going to this point here, and this is the 2-core cable I was talking about. Okay, so the outgoing goes along one side back to the switch and then comes back on the other wire through this side of the terminal block and then goes to the terminal block here, and then up to the track. That's all coming down a bit there. I need to glue that back up now, do something with it. But anyway, I hope that's helpful. Now the switch, this is a standard light switch, and I quite like those, which is obviously, like I showed you, one of those. I quite like those because when people come round, they can join in and take part in operating the layout. They might not feel confident enough to run the trains, but they can switch a switch on, and then they feel they've done something, which is always nice. Okay, but although this one that I've got here is a 2 switch, so there'd be 2 of these, one side of each other, this would be a single switch. Okay, so you've got 2 holes at the top and 1 at the bottom. I believe 2 holes are for situations where you've got light switches upstairs and 1 downstairs, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm not talking about that. This is 16 volts, so I don't need a part P to fit these. But the switch operates very simply because inside of here there is a piece of metal. So if you pardon me, so when the switch is on, the metal contacts, and then when it's off, the metal comes away and it breaks the contact. Okay, hence why this works the way it does. All right, now like I said before, this can operate DC or DCC, and I run DCC, but I'm just going to leave the sounds to be quite random, and I like that idea. But that's a real police car outside, by the way. If you're operating on DCC and you've got a regular controller, you should just be able to type in the numbers and operate a particular sound. And I think there are a couple of modules which use station sounds, so guards whistles and things like that, signal clunking down and all sorts of things like that, slamming doors. Those would be good to play on call. So you type your number in and it plays the sound, which would be good for that. However, I use the Z21 system, and unless I have the hand walk around unit, I can't just type in random numbers. I have to program them in as like a response button, and then press that response button and it will play the sound. I don't really want to do that, but you could if you chose to, and I would do that in accessories, and there are some buttons that you can bring in. All right, like when you're creating a route, that type of thing. You get a button and you press the button, you switch all the points you want to, you push the button, all the points change, etc, etc, etc. Okay, hope that's useful. Right, just going to give you a little look at this just for a tad longer. If you find it helpful, then do feel free to screenshot it or pause the video, whatever you want to do. I think as long as you realise that the wire's going out on one side and then returning on the other side, I think you'll be absolutely fine. All right. I like it. If you turn the sounds down, so it is incidental, it's not dominating everything, I think it just adds a nice little background noise to the layout and just brings a little bit of reality to the situation. So, like I said, in the previous clips, there are some different ones that you can get. I'm not sure of the other ones that are available. I think there's 4 altogether, but well worth a check out. You know, I know there's another guy who does, he's done a video on 2 of these, this one and one other. I think there's some station sounds, which for me, they're not quite as appropriate because you've got sound of locomotives going in through there and slamming doors. And if there's no train in the station, I've got locomotive sounds or slamming door sounds or whatever, or guards whistles going off, it's going to sound a bit odd and out of place. So for me, that one's not quite as good. But like I said, on DCC, you can get it to do exactly what you want it to do. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have, please do like, subscribe and share, remembering to click on that little bell and you get notification of my videos straight into your inbox. On the screen, you might see some other videos that might take your interest. Okay, everyone, see you soon. Bye for now.